Ladies and gentlemen, this is big. For the first time ever, it's been confirmed officially by the Vice President JD Vance that Ilhan Omar committed immigration fraud. This is interesting timing because the Department of Justice has also begun denaturalization cases, which is just music to my ears. Here's the confirmation from JD Vance.
About Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz.
Exactly.
And obviously, Ilhan Omar, the president and the White House have been out saying that she married her brother, that there is immigration fraud going on here. These are deportable denaturalization offenses. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so we actually think that Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud against the United States of America. And I talked to Stephen Miller about this actually recently. We're trying to look at what the remedies are. That's the thing that we're trying to figure out is what are the legal remedies now that we know that she's committed immigration fraud? How do you go after her? How do you investigate her? How do you actually do the thing? How do you build the case necessary to get some justice for the American people? There's a related issue, Benny, which is she has been at the center of a lot of the worst fraudsters in the Somalian community. So do I know that Ilhan Omar was aware that the Quality Leering Center was defrauding the American people? I'm not certain of it, but we at least need to investigate it, because if people can commit wrongdoing without even the fear that they're going to be found out, that's a fundamental problem. So I'm worried about the immigration fraud. I'm also worried about what did Ilhan Omar know about what was happening in the Somali community, and why was nobody looking into it until, frankly, Donald Trump came along.
The reason his words are significant here is because JD Vance is leading the task force to crack down on fraud across the country. And we're not just talking about monetary fraud. It's going to include immigration fraud as well. Meanwhile, the Department of Justice has begun stripping citizenship from people who commit crimes and fraud on their immigration cases.
Push to strip criminal immigrants of their citizenship. David Spun has this story from Washington. Is it possible?
Well, Dana, it is possible, and it's becoming a much more frequent event to see DOJ officials securing through courts the denaturalization of people who obtained U.S. citizenship through fraud or obtained citizenship by committing other crimes.
Breaking news. Political shockwaves just hit Washington. Now, what if I told you that Ilhan Omar is now at the center of a deportation controversy and is being pushed by none other than JD Vance? Moments ago, a statement dropped that has people asking one explosive question. Can a sitting US congresswoman actually face deportation proceedings? Supporters are calling it political warfare. Critics say it's long overdue accountability. But here is where it gets even more intense. This move could trigger a legal and constitutional showdown that changes everything. So what's real? What's political theater? And what happens next? Stay with me because this story just took a wild turn. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're new here, do let us know where you're watching us from. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications so you never miss a video. Video credit goes to the original creators for every video used in this episode. Let's get to the video and I'll be right back with more commentaries.
In the year 2000, Ilhan Omar becomes a U.S. citizen. In 2002, she marries her first husband, Ahmed Hersi, and they have 2 children together. Now, they get divorced in 2008, and in 2009 is when she supposedly married her brother, Ahmed Elmi. Now, while she's still married to her second husband, her alleged brother, Elmi, she has another child in 2012 with her first husband. She doesn't divorce Elmi until 2017, and then she remarries her first husband, Hersi. However, just 1 year after remarrying her first husband, she starts having an affair with a political consultant, Tim Minette, who's also cheating on his wife with Omar, and then she divorces her first husband for a second time. Now, even if we set the brother rumor aside, that is a serious paperwork game going on there. She was married for 8 years to one man while having children with another man, and if you weren't keeping track, that means she was married 4 times to 3 different men. So who is Ahmed Elmi? Well, the first thing about him that's important to note is that his name is Ahmed Noor Saeed Elmi. Now, if you remember, Ilhan Omar's father's name was Noor. So according to Ahmed Elmi's name, his father's name is also Noor. So judging by his name, him and Ilhan Omar have a father with the same name. Now, a story recently broke on Ahmed Elmi, and it's truly shocking. Apparently, he has social media profiles where he goes by the name The Dandy Daddy, and he's dressed very flamboyantly. He's wearing wearing these short shorts. He was described to wear lipstick. He's also referring to Ilhan Omar's children as his nieces and nephews. Now, that social media profile has since been deleted, but I think it's very clear to see by just simply looking at this guy that he definitely has a little extra sugar in his tank. And if you have any doubts about that,
A few months ago, I made a video breaking down the categories of fraud that Ilhan Omar could be in big trouble for. And rather than restate what I said then, I'm going to play this clip in its entirety, and it should give you a lot more clarity on, really, in my opinion, how screwed Ilhan is. That's assuming the Trump administration follows through, which they absolutely should. Ilhan Omar and her family and her weird ties, it just needs to go back to Somalia. Go back to Mogadishu. Mogadouchebag. Take a listen. Ilhan Omar's lawyers are probably telling her there's nothing to worry about, there's the statute of limitations. That might be true, but there's one thing they're not thinking about. So a quick rundown. Her marriage to Ahmed New Saeed Elmi, her brother, for immigration benefits, to give him a green card and everything like that. That would be a violation of 8 U.S.C. section 1325, which is the part that deals with immigration marriage fraud, as well as 1546, which deals with visa and immigration document fraud and conspiracy to defraud the United States. The statute of limitations on those crimes is 5 years. The marriage happened in 2009, and the divorce happened in 2017. That's definitely more than 5 years ago. The crime is considered complete when the fraudulent marriage is entered into or when the immigration benefit is obtained between 2011 and 2012, when he received student aid or status. That 5-year clock expired between 2014 and 2017. The second allegation against Ilhan are her false statements or concealment during her own naturalization process. The same statute, just Part A and B. That statute of limitations is 10 years. She became a citizen in 2000. That 10 years expired in 2010. And any other immigration-related false statements would have happened between 2000 and 2017. Charges of perjury under immigration law, and they also carry a 5-year statute of limitations. The conclusion is all alleged acts are more than 5 to 15 years old. But ladies and gentlemen, this is what I love. What is not time barred is civil denaturalization. Under 8 U.S.C. section 1451, the section dealing with revocations of citizenship obtained by concealment of material fact or willful misrepresentation. What do you see there? None. No statute of limitations whatsoever. That was established in multiple Supreme Court cases. Yes, the Trump administration can file a denaturalization lawsuit at any time, even 25 to 50 years later, if they have clear and convincing evidence that citizenship was illegally procured or procured by fraud. That's absolutely massive, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I mean by Ilhan Omar should be freaking out right now. If the Trump government is exhausting investigative resources looking into her past, any lie she put on her citizenship application is gonna haunt her. This is the denaturalization pathway. If any of these stories, which have been reported on for years, are true, she's cooked. Omar allegedly entered a fraudulent marriage before 2000 in Kenya refugee camp or early entry to her first husband, Ahmed Hersi, or another relative misrepresenting marital status or family relationships on her refugee application, adjustment, or naturalization applications. This hid polygamous relationships or sibling ties that violated refugee eligibility. All they'll need is forged marriage or divorce records from the 1990s, witness affidavits from the Somali community, and inconsistent family timelines in the immigration files. Witness affidavits from the Somali community. Remember, the reason we even know about these stories is because Somalis snitched on Ilhan. This would mean she was ineligible for refugee status due to all that fraud. That's enough grounds for revocation. There's also allegations that Ilhan lied about her family's refugee persecution story in 92 and 95. That would fall under illegal procurement. Also allegations of concealment of criminal or terror ties in her family. There's been a lot of reports that her family is linked to groups like Al-Shabaab, and the implications of that are self-explanatory. If that information was given to immigration officers, she would have never gotten her case granted. And remember, there's no time limit. Civil denaturalization has none. Now that JD Vance is saying there's evidence of immigration fraud, the DOJ, if they gather the evidence, can file a denaturalization case. Do I expect it to happen? We'll see. But what a great thing would it be for this country if Ilhan Omar is denaturalized and sent back to Somalia.
And in the case of Minnesota, it's very Somalia oriented. Think of it, these people come from a crooked country, disgusting country, one of the worst countries in the world. Acknowledged to be one of the worst countries in the world. Some people say it's the worst. They have no money, they have nothing. They come to our country, low IQs, and they rob us blind. Stupid people. And they rob us blind because we have crooked politicians and we have dirty cops. The Attorney General's a dirty cop. It's my opinion. It's only my opinion.
So here's the reality. This situation involving Ilhan Omar and JD Vance is far from over. What we are witnessing could spark one of the biggest political and legal battles in recent history. Will this actually go anywhere, or is it just a high-stake political move? One thing is certain, the fallout is just beginning. Now I want to hear from you. Is this justified or crossing the line? If you value conversations that go deeper than headlines, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on your notifications so you never miss future discussions. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay compassionate, and most importantly, stay active in the dialogue. If you missed what was said at the beginning, please watch that again. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.